Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. What a statement win for Team Canada, who advance over Finland 5-3 in regulation, which is key, to advance to the Four Nations Face-Off Final, where they will meet the United States once again. Now, I'm going to have 2-3 days to preview that matchup. I haven't even dug into the surface of all of the numbers and stats and matchups that I want to collect to preview that matchup and give you guys the absolute best breakdown that I can for that hockey game. So what I want to do today is talk about this Canada-Finland game, which obviously was way closer at the end than any of us expected it to be. At least any of us Canadians expected it to be with how the game was going throughout. But honestly, when you look at the overall scope of the game and how Finland played and the heart that they showed, I thought everything reached its equilibrium at the end of the day, with Finland scoring those 3 goals at the end to make it close. But I'll get into all of that in a second, because Team Canada, I was worried coming into this game that there was going to be a bit of an emotional letdown. You can't get a higher stakes, higher intensity game than that game that they played against the US on Saturday. So I was a little worried that there'd be a little bit of a letdown. You know, it's not the exact same stage. You're playing at 10 a.m. Pacific time against Finland in Boston. You don't have your home fans there. Again, like, I was worried the intensity wouldn't quite be there, but shout out to John Cooper, Rick Tocchet, and the Canadian coaching staff, because they had a fire under these guys' butts from the first puck drop. And it was clearly evident that Canada were the initiators. They were pushing the pace early, and they got rewarded for it. Connor McDavid, it is so much fun to have that guy on your team rooting for him instead of against him. Every time he has the puck, he just makes a move that I didn't see coming. Like, when you're watching hockey games, football games, basketball games, like, when you've done it enough, you anticipate kind of what you think a guy is going to do. And when he's coming around the boards, you think he's going to stop, he's going to shoot at this point, blah, blah, blah. Subconsciously, you do this. You don't really say it out loud. Every move that I subconsciously think McDavid's going to make, he just doesn't make. He does the opposite, and it works every single time. He had a gorgeous snipe, low pad almost, just like beat him wide off the post. Didn't hit any sticks or anything, beat Lankinen clean. And 5 minutes into the game, Canada had a 1-0 lead. And it was at this point where I kind of saw where Finland's weak defense, which is by far the weakest unit of any unit probably in this entire tournament between the 4 teams, I started to realize that this might get exposed a little bit. And wouldn't you know it, not even a minute later, puck goes on the boards, somehow gets it to Nathan MacKinnon, who actually had a 2-on-0 in that scenario if he wanted to wait up. He had another winger coming in, he could have tapped it back door. But nope, big money MacKinnon, who had a pretty rough game against the US, uses all that anger and just rips it far side on Lankinen. 2-0 Canada, 5 minutes into the game. Everyone's feeling great. Canada is pushing the pace. Canada's clearly the better defensive team. Finland's defense looks slow. Everything looks perfect. And then second period started off as more of the same. Braden Point scored with 7 minutes left in the period. Or sorry, Braden Point scored with 7 minutes left in the first period. So it was 3-0 Canada after 1. Felt great about it. But going into the second, Finland was a lot better. They clearly got their nerves calmed down. They settled into the game, and they started playing their style, which is very bear down, dump and chase, bare bones, Rick Tocchet style, actually, kind of hockey, where it's their goal to make the game as slow as possible and use their physical rat kind of tactics to get in your head, spend time in the offensive zone and try to bang away at pucks and try to get them past, because it's hard for them to score with skill, considering they're a lot less talented than most of these other teams. But even with that, Sidney Crosby makes a unbelievable play from behind the net, feeds it out front to Nathan MacKinnon, his Nova Scotia partner, and McKinnon rips one home again, 4-0 Canada early in the second period. And I thought for the rest of that period, the game was very even. I thought Finland did a really, really good job at pressuring Canada's defense because we all know now that John Cooper has coached Canada's defense to join up in the play practically every time Canada breaks out. So what the Finns were doing they were playing deep in the zone in both corners deep in the zone. So both defensemen had to stay back 200 feet from the other side of the ice where they were trying to get to. So it was a lot harder for them to jump into play and create numbers for Canada on the offensive end because the Finns were doing a good job pinning them in their offensive end. So the second period was a stalemate. It goes all the way to the third. And then the third period, flatly, Canada went into a shell. And this terrifies me going forward for this team because you just can't have that against the most talented United States team in the history of hockey there. I thought Canada rested on their 4-0 laurels. I thought they thought the Finns would just kind of say no mas and, play timid for the rest of the game for whatever reason. They didn't. Finland dominated the third period. If you look at the expected goals for through the first two periods, they were pretty even. Canada was a little bit ahead in the first. Finland was a little ahead in the second. I'm sorry, I'm just bringing it up now. But in the third, Finland flatly dominated the pace of play. Like their expected goals for was all the way up at 60% at some points. Like it got to the point where their expected goals for reached 3.5 by the end of the game. When entering the second period, it was all the way down at 1.5. That is a huge difference in expected goals for from a period to the next. So what changed? Like I said, it seemed like Canada, the whole game, was relying on their third and fourth lines. They opened the game with their third and fourth lines. And they wanted to finish the game with that. They wanted to shut the Finns down, and they were successful at it for a large portion of the third period until, simply put, a perfect shot comes off the right wing, goes posting in over Bennington. There's nothing you can do there, and it's 4-1 with 6 minutes and 40 seconds left. At this point, if you're Canada, you're not panicking at all. You're still up 4-1. The second one, with I think a minute 40 left, was basically the picturesque mad scramble empty net play where there's 4 shots, 5 rebounds, 6 passes, 7 trips, 8 cross checks, and a partridge in a pear tree. And eventually the puck finds Patrick Laine on the left side. He feeds it to the middle for, I think, Mikael Granlund, who scored through the 5-hole of Jordan Bennington with 5 people in his cage. Obviously, there was some kind of goaltender interference there, but you're never going to call it. There's too many guys, and it's 4-2 Finns. Again, at this point, no one's panicking. All right? It was a mad scramble in front. They got a lucky bounce. We're still up 4-2 with under 2 minutes left. We'll be just fine. The third goal, I didn't really start to do anything. I was panicking, flatly panicking. I was pacing around my living room. I was screaming. I was upset at my little brother for coming into the room. He could tell that I was just on edge because the third goal had nothing to do with luck. It had nothing to do with a good puck bounce. It had nothing to do with effort. The Finns just flatly made a great play. Barkov won a puck battle underneath behind the net. It was a lot like Sidney Crosby to Nathan McKinnon's goal in the second period, where Barkov fed it in front, but it was, instead of a right-handed shot on that right side, it was a left-handed shot, and Barkov put it right on his tape, and I think it was Granlund again. I could be wrong about that. I think it was Granlund again. I'm going to double-check that. It was Granlund again, and he rips it top corner on Bennington. 4-3 with a minute left, a minute and a bit. It's a lot of time to score a goal, especially considering what just happened in the last 5 minutes. I was freaking out. I was very, very nervous for the most obvious of reasons because, like I said, First goal, all right, listen, 1 in a million shot. It was perfect, just over the pad, posted in, whatever, it happens. They were due. Second goal, bounces perfectly to the right wing, gets it to the middle, poor defensive coverage, mad scramble. Like, there's really nothing you can do. The third one, though, like, they just flatly outflanked us and outplayed us being Canada in this case. Like, that was terrifying. It was like, okay, Finland has firmly taken control of this game. If this game goes into overtime, not only is Canada not in control of their own destiny, they're probably going to lose because all of the momentum at this point is on Finland's side. Thankfully, though, Team Canada is something these other teams don't. And that is the player of the generation, the player that every guy can look at and just feel this overwhelming confidence that he's going to make the right play, that everything is going to be okay because he's on our team. Sidney Crosby's value in this tournament is so much more than him being one of the best hockey players in the world. It's the fact that these kids idolize him. Just absolutely idolize him. I think it was Headley who came in as Canada's spare defenseman for Makar against the US, who called him a god. And the reverence that these guys have for Sidney Crosby is unparalleled. He is Captain Canada. And you really feel like if you have him on your team as a Team Canada player, how are we going to lose? This guy's plot armor. He scored the golden goal. And wouldn't you know it, he goes out with a minute left, makes a sick hit over the middle, which I haven't seen him do in 5 years probably, since he turned 32. I don't think he's made an open ice hit like that. Gets the puck back, rips it in the empty net, 5-3 Canada. We're going to the finals. Let's freaking go. Sidney Crosby's a beauty. Third, man, it was a tough period. The Finns flatly dominated and Canada rested on their laurels, which scares me. I would like Canada to be behind against the US now, I think, because I feel like if they are, they're a lot more prone to push pace and try to use their skill to their advantage better than they do when they don't have a lead. I feel like when they have a lead, they kind of revert back into this shell of dump and chase hockey and, not Team Canada skill, which is obviously their clear advantage against every other team in this tournament, their high-end skill, which was on display for the first two periods with the McDavid goal and the McKinnon goal and the other McKinnon goal. Like, their superpower is their top-end, high-end skill. Lean into that. But Finland actually, because of the third period, and like I said, they didn't play that bad in the second. The first 10 minutes of the game were just so dominantly in Canada's favor that it made it look like the rest of the game was kind of out of sorts, when in actuality, Finland was playing pretty well. I usually bring up the deserve to win-o-meter, and it usually backs up what I think happened in the game. But when I looked at the deserve to win-o-meter, Finland actually won the deserve to win-o-meter convincingly at 65%. And if you don't know what the deserve to win-o-meter is, it basically puts you with average goaltending. If this game was played out the exact same way, how many times would each team win? Finland won 65% of the time. So with that, Finland winning 65% of the time with average goaltending, I've got to look at our goaltender and allow the praise to be as loud as the criticism. Like, I was all over Jordan Bennington. I've been all over Jordan Bennington for like 6 months since he was announced as this team's goalie. I don't think he's been good. I don't think he was good in the first 2 games. I thought he gave up 2 cupcakes to Sweden and he gave up a terrible one to the US. But I'll be damned. He was awesome. Flatly awesome in this game. I thought all 3 goals, there was nothing he could have done. Like I said, first one, perfect shot. Second one, mad scramble. Third one, perfect shot. Nothing you can do. He was great with puck movement, even though in the first period, I thought he took what John Cooper said a little bit too much to heart. Cooper, before the game, when he was talking to the media about why he started Bennington, mentioned how good of a puck mover Bennington was and how he created that McDavid goal, or at least helped. So Bennington in the first period was trying to be basically Mike Smith on the Coyotes, if you remember him, basically playing the puck every single time it got within 8 feet of him, it felt like. That was a little much, but he did play a great game. And gosh, good, God bless him. Hopefully he can do it against the States. Again, I'm not going to get into that game today. We have plenty of time to do that throughout the week. But I thought Bennington was awesome. Travis Konechny was also awesome. He needs to be in the lineup for the finals. I'm not comparing him to Nathan MacKinnon at all, but I am, because whenever I saw him on the ice, I couldn't help but think like a light version of Nathan MacKinnon. He was making all the right plays. I thought he wasn't trying to do too much, which is usually what people who haven't played in tournaments like this will do. They'll, oh my gosh, this is the world stage. That's Sidney Crosby on my team. I want to show him how good I am. No, he played a very simple game. And when he had chances to be aggressive, he was. I thought he was fantastic. His stats don't really back it up the way I saw on the ice. I thought Travis Konechny coming into this game pretty cold. He obviously didn't play against the States. Awesome. Great on him. Mitch Marner, I thought was pretty invisible against the States. He was really, really good tonight. He made a couple of passes, one in particular that went through his own goalie's paint from the left side to the right side. Didn't love that, but he did end the game with 72% Corsi, which led Team Canada. And I thought his defense this game was on a whole different level than it was against the States. His stick seemed like it was always in the right spot. He was sticking to his defenseman. He got the puck out a couple of times on some chances where Canada was pinned a bit in their own zone. He was really good. Travis Sanheim, this kid is a future 30-minute a game defenseman. He probably already is. 68% Corsi this game. He was flatly unbelievable. He's not Cale Makar, but every time the puck is on his stick, I just feel unbelievably confident that he's going to do something good with it. Yeah, Travis Sanheim, man. Wow. I did not know this guy's name very well coming into this tournament. I know it very well now. I'm going to look for this guy every time I watch him play. The last guy I want to shout out is Sam Reinhart, who was invisible's too kind, what he was against the US, to be totally honest with you. I didn't know he dressed until I looked it up, but he was freaking a beast today. I guess getting put on that third line might have motivated him to be a bit more of a pest and, play a different style of game. I don't know what it was, to be totally honest with you. I wish I was on that coaching staff. I'm not. But Sam Reinhart ended this game with the highest game score out of anybody, which is super impressive considering the games that McDavid and McKinnon and Crosby was so good tonight too. Considering the games that those guys had, it was incredibly impressive what he was able to do on that third line, which the third and fourth line, again, as I mentioned before, huge part of that first period run by Canada. I know that McKinnon, McDavid, they ended up capitalizing on those chances. But that third line with Marchand and all of those guys, they really set the tone early. They actually started the game. They were on the ice for the anthem. I thought they did a great job establishing tone. And a huge reason why Canada was able to take that 4-0 lead into a 5-3 win in the end. So, statement win from Canada. I thought outside of taking their foot off the gas in the third, which worries me a bit. But the thing is, it doesn't worry me a lot because, like I said, the urgency against the US is going to be there. I worry not even a little bit about them taking their foot off the gas against the US because they just got beat by them. And the US is probably going to go undefeated throughout this tournament unless they, take their foot. I keep saying take their foot off the gas. There's got to be a better saying than just repeating that over and over again. I'll think of it at some point. But maybe they let loose a little bit against Sweden. Not great. I don't know. Think of another replacement at some point. But yeah, maybe they don't quite play as hard against Sweden because they already have their spot locked up, but they are the best team. I think Canada knows it, so they're going to play them with that respect and tenacity and intensity. So the only thing I worry about coming out of this game really isn't going to be a worry in the finals. I thought Canada was awesome today. It was a great statement win going up 4-0 like that. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait for these freaking finals on Thursday. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself until then. I'm probably just gonna throw myself into, daily face off and natural stat track to try to find out how I can statistically analyze who's gonna win this damn hockey game. But I can't wait to do it. I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave a like on the video. Please leave a comment if you didn't enjoy it. What points did you disagree with? What points did you agree with? I love talking about sports, believe it or not, and I like doing it in the comments with you guys. I'm small enough as to where I can do so, so please leave something down there. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Spit Sports Show just hit over 400 subscribers. No big deal. Big things happening. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out. I love you guys.